Hello everyone and welcome to this PvT guide. In this guide I'm going to show you how to play a blink opener with a sentry, which is going to provide a lot of scouting, and this build is going to be super mega safe against all-ins, against cheeses, against all kind of stuff, and you could easily play a nice micro game into it. So let's get into it. So in this specific replay I opened up with gas first, so gas before gateway. This is something you can use at high level to optimize your build a little bit when you don't scout at all, but I do not recommend it necessarily. You can just play normally as you would do, gateway into gas, so don't pay close attention to that. It's just a little detail you can do yourself. That being said, instead of going core and then Nexus like it's popular to do in this matchup, I will go Nexus before core to have a bit more economy. The reason why we're doing this is because A, I want to have more gas, more resources, and the second one is because we're going to go Stalker instead of an Adept, which is the popular choice. An Adept takes 30 seconds to build, a Stalker is 3 seconds faster, so no need to rush the core. My Stalker should be on time to defend the Reaper. So Nexus 20, core 20, gas 21, and pylon 22. This is how you do it. Notice the probe production is always constant, and if you open gate into gas, I strongly recommend you put immediately 3 probes inside the gas so that you have enough gas to build a stalker, sentry, and so on. So 3 probes inside the gas right away. Constant probe production. Chrono boost the first stalker. As I said, you want your stalker to be on time for the Reaper, which should be arriving at 2:25 to 30 depending on the maps. Once your stalker is finished, you go for a sentry right away. Don't get your twilight too early. You get the sentry and then afterwards you get the twilight council. This is how you do it. Then once your natural finishes, you kind of want to chrono boost your Nexus right away. We want to boost the economy as fast as possible. It's a mistake I see very frequently, so you really want to chrono boost your economy as early as possible, right? Some people would like to overcharge the sentry to scout right away. I don't think it's necessary. You can just take your time. At about 2:50 or 3 minutes, depending on how comfortable you are, you get a battery and you put the battery at its exact location. Why here and not there, for example? Because with this battery placement, your battery is in range to protect all of your probes, but it's also in range to protect your units at the front. So this battery placement is amazing and it doesn't get in the way of anything, so it's perfect, right? You want then to get a second gateway. This gateway must be finished as warp gate finishes, so that when warp gate is done, you can immediately warp in 2 stalkers with this gate. So it's mandatory that this gate is finished. So try to line up the gate with your warp gate research. I made an adept at 3rd unit. That was an older replay. Nowadays I like to get a stalker as 3rd unit, but it doesn't really matter. The reason why I make an adept is because it's a bit cheaper. But I think a stalker is probably better. Then you want to get the 3rd gateway for a total of 3. And then, do we get a robo or not? What is our next move? This guy over here is going to tell us what to do next. The only thing you need to do at this moment is to get probes and make sure you're not getting supply block. Notice I'm making a pylon at the edge to provide more vision, right? And also more room to make buildings. Right, so my hallucination arrives. Let's see what it sees. Okay, I see a naked starport and a naked factory, so it means most likely a mine drop or a Hellion drop, maybe Marines and Hellion, something along those lines. But I know for sure there's no Cyclone, no tank, no Banshee. Because there's no Banshee or anything of that sort, I don't really need to get a robo that early, right? There's no tanks, so I don't need Immortals. And there's no Banshee, so I don't really need detection. So I can delay the robo and get a faster Nexus. I'm taking this Nexus. I think, yeah, this one is better actually. Right? I see the Marines are still home, and I just saw a Hellion pop. But whether it's a Hellion or mine, whether you missed the units or not, doesn't really matter. Now we have, if you've done a good job, you should have 3 units like this, and then you have 3 gateways. The 2 gateways are done, as I said, so I warped in 2 stalkers right away, and my 3rd gateway is about to complete very shortly. You want to chrono boost this building over here, the Twilight Council, 3 times in total. That's how you do it. And once you take your 3rd, here in this case I took it at 350. Once again, you want to take it as early as possible. If there's a Banshee or a Tech Lab on the factory and you see your opponent might be going for siege tanks, get your robo before. But in this case, there's Hellions or Widow Mines. I don't need detection, I don't need Immortals, so I can just get this Nexus and then get the Roboplay as greedy as possible. Your goal is to get as rich as possible. You want to get lots of probes, focus on minerals mostly. I like to put some pylons like this over the edge because I know potentially my opponent is going for a mine drop or a Hellion drop, so this pylon is going to provide a little bit of vision over here. This pylon also is going to provide some vision, right? I've got units over here to wall in case Hellions come in, and I've got some units over there in case there's a drop or a Widow Mine drop, something like this. So I just split up my army in two little groups, right? Constant pro production, you're not missing a beat, and you're going to go for 2 extra gases. So there are 2 ways to go about this build. This fast Colossus version, which I'm doing here, I'm going to show you another version afterwards. Now I see the Hellion. Just press F2 because you have no observer or anything like this, so everything should be grouped up together to catch the Hellions. Just blink with whatever you've got, snipe the medevac. And because we've lost a couple probes, don't hesitate and actually chrono boost your probes again to make up for what you've lost, right? So chrono boost your probes, don't be shy at all. Then the next phase is to actually get your charge, to get +1 attack thanks to a forge, and we want to go into Colossus. So first we need an observer, and maybe even 2 observer perhaps, we'll see. Now I know the drop has been killed, right? I know I successfully killed the medevac, so I'm free to go on the map, right? If you've not killed the medevac or the attack has not arrived just yet, stay home with your units, right? Right now I'm only moving out because I know A, the medevac is dead, and 2, I trust my ability to get damage done also, right? If you struggle to micro, don't make a move that is gonna make you lose all of your units. So just targeting the tech lab, right? Hopefully it's Stim, sadly it's combat shield, but I'm still getting some value, and I'm just gonna get safely out of there. In the meantime, I want to go for a Robo Bay, as I said, because we want to go into Colossus. So, +1 attack, Robo Bay, and then I will slowly add my gateways all the way to 8. If you struggle to spend your money, if you find it very difficult to spend your warp in cycles, go all the way to 10 instead of 8. But as the better you get at the game, the closer you want to get to 8, because it's actually how you spend your money properly. So I'm getting a bit annoyed over here. In total, you're never gonna go for more than 4 gases. So you take both geysers at the natural, you take both the geysers in your main, and you stop there. Only minerals from this point. The only moment you're gonna get more gases, in this case 6 in total, is when you want to go into DT with Blink. Blink DT in the later stages of the game, not before, or air for that matter, but you stay mostly focused on minerals. You go for gateways all the way to 8, as I said, so this is it. I've got even 9, you know, doesn't matter. And once you've got Colossus production started, all your gateways started, and your upgrade started, finally it's time for a 4th base, right? Just get your 4th, and notice how much vision I've got. I've got an observer at the front, I can see his units, I have my stalkers in place to potentially kite, I have an observer over here, my probe is about to place some pylons, I've got some vision over there. I want as much coverage as possible so I don't get surprised. If you're a slow player, if you struggle with multitasking, instead of trying to outpace your opponent, just have some vision on the map, place an observer, place some pylons like this, it's gonna make your life so much easier. Right, so you want to aim at 3 Colossus in total. This is how you do it. And then ideally you want to get the 2nd forge. You add the 2nd forge after the 4th is started. So this is this order: Colossus, 8 gates, 4th base, 2nd forge, right? And you only focus on probes in the minerals from this point. So I will get 16 extra probes to saturate this base, and I want to make sure I've got as much vision as possible. From this point on, you make nothing but zealots, unless you really need to make stalkers to defend a drop, liberator, something like that, like this. But you mostly focus on zealots, and you go all the way to 3 Colossus. All of your chrono boost should now go on your forges. I've got my forges split up, but if you can put your forges just next to each other, the 2 together, it's much easier to go chrono boost, and then go away, so you don't miss a beat, right? Once your force has been started, you can get 2 extra gates. You can even get maybe 4 extra gateways, depending on how well you're able to spend your money. And once again, see, I'm saturated already. Alright, and I'm doing nothing but spamming zealots and chrono boosting my forges. This is just what I need to do. I've got vision everywhere. Look at the minimap. This observer here, I've got a little run-by. Run-bys are extremely powerful with this tile because you've got a lot of minerals, of course, so zealots are pretty cheap and they're going to be expandable, so you're going to be able to actually deal damage. And once you've got your 4 extra gateways I was talking about, so you can go, when you've got 4 bases, you can go all the way to, I don't know, 14 gates, something along those lines. 12 to 14. Just take another base. Keep on going. You know, this is the mistake I always see. People are too shy to expand. They're scared of dying. And what happens is they end up dying later because they don't have enough resources to justify a macro game. So don't be shy and take the Nexus. If you have to cancel it, it's okay. Doesn't matter. No big deal. But take the bases. You need minerals. Look, I've got 76 probes. I'm 20 workers ahead of my opponent. I'm still making even more to saturate this base. I'm gonna go all the way to 85. And I don't even have all the gases. Now I've taken 2 extra gases because, as I mentioned earlier, I want to go into Blink and DT. Right? But this is only later in the stages of the game. Now, what is my game plan? My game plan is to A, outmine my opponent. So in order to do this, I just take bases very aggressively. As you can see, it's 3 bases against 5. So I'm really pushing hard in the economy department. And the second is to outtrade my opponent because, well, my army, the Terran army in late game, is generally stronger than the Protoss army in the late game. So what you want to do is trade. You're mining more, right? But because you're mining more, you need to interact with your opponent so that both players actually need to replace their units. But because you're mining more and you always need to replace your units, eventually you will be able to continually replace your units, but your Terran opponent, if you've done a good job at preventing them from taking extra bases and you've taken bases on your own, you should be able to prevent them from actually remaking their army together. They will be broke eventually. I like to do this little timing attack like this. For example, right now I'm 2-1. I like this 2-1 timing attack once I've got all my bases established, when I'm really mining a crap ton. I'm gonna try to attack as my opponent is taking the force. This is the moment the Terran is weak, is when they try to establish their fourth. Right now they need to defend this area, they need to potentially defend this area, and of course the main and natural in case a drop should happen. So when the Terran is trying to land the force in location, this is the moment you want to strike. So I'm doing this exactly right now. I don't want to go like a madman, I just want to trade. As I said, trading doesn't mean losing everything to kill one marine. It means trying to get as much value as possible within a reasonable range. Right now it's very hard to just pounce at the front because he's got a big army, but I can just use a warp prism and warp in some zealots. I can warp in DTs also because I've got a dark shrine. Don't warp in 10 DTs, it's a big waste of money. Just get 1 or 2 and rest in zealots. Zealots are expandable, remember. And I'm just attacking at the front also. And you see the army is getting there are a little bit of micro shenanigans on my hand, but I'm just taking my time. I'm not YOLOing into it. Remember, I'm mining more. More money is coming in. Time is in my favor. So I'm just getting some DTs to run by, and I just replace my army. And once my army has been fully maxed again, I can go for round 2 and keep on trading, right? That's the goal. Minor here. See, I'm taking my time. I'm trading a little bit. I'm pulling back, kiting a little bit. Now my DTs just arrived. My DTs are going to deal some damage. Just 3 clicks. 1 in the main, 1 in the natural, 1 in the third. And I'm just going to replace my army again. Warp a big run of zealots. I've got 16 gateways. And now, as you can see, one thing you can do in the later stages of the game is to pay attention to your upgrades. It would be a bit stupid to attack right before your upgrades finish, unless you really have a big opportunity, or you actually paid attention to the upgrades of your opponent. In this case, it's 2-1 against 1-1. Well, my opponent already left the game, but here I would have gone for another round. I would have waited for 3-2 to finish, and then I would have gone for another round. And then the next phase is what? Take 1 more base and keep on going. And the moment the Terran actually establishes a 5th base, this is the moment Blink DTs come into play. Never send your Blink DTs on their own. Always have your army on the opposite side of the map to distract, pay attention, and force units to be in position. And then zoop, you blink with the DTs. Alright, I'm going to show you 2 different scenarios of actually cheeses. If you want to take your StarCraft to the next level, I've created a coaching site on which you could join my Discord, book a session with me, and soon I will be adding tutorials and guides. So make sure you check out my coaching site. The link is in the description. All right, so now it's time to play against Dolan, North American, like 6K Terran. So this player is very well known to all in very frequently. He's got a lot of different strategies up his sleeve. So this is going to be a perfect replay to show you how to actually defend all in. So actually I'm not blind countering my opponent, just practice, so I don't care at all. I'm just playing my own game and then I react. This is the point of this strategy, is that you're able to properly assess the situation with the scout and then you can react accordingly. So this time around I'm actually going for a gate into gas, and then I'm scouting with my probe. Actually my probe, I believe, barely saw the SCV go in the natural, but the probe saw it, but my eyes not quite. So these things happen. All right, so I'm gonna try to go for my Nexus at 20 as I usually do, and surprise motherfucker, there's a eBay block being built. So I'm not able to go for a Nexus I would like to do, so no problem. I'm gonna pull 4 extra probes for a total of 5. One probe is gonna specifically try to target the SCV to make it low HP to actually push it away, and I'm gonna kill the eBay block. Don't watch. Pay attention and play. A lot of people, they just like this. They just look at the probe, shoot the eBay. Hey bro, you're on a playing field. Keep playing. Make a probe. Get your pylon. This is something I see all the time. It actually shocks me. People are just so passive. They just watch. Like, oh, my probes are killing the eBay. Yeah, make a probe, my friend. Make your pylon. Don't get supply block. Get an extra probe. Keep on going. Now, this probe, you kind of want to save it. What did I see? I saw factory. All right, factory before command center. I can go home. I don't need to know anything else. The only difference I'm gonna do, it's gonna make, is that I'm going to get a quicker battery as a reaction to this. That's all. Rest is identical. So, Stalker chrono boosted, of course. I'm gonna go into warp gate, and I'm not cutting probes. When you get eBay blocked, especially when the eBay is, you know, pretty high hit point, which was the case here, just keep on making probes. I'm gonna go sentry, despite only having 1 geyser. I accept the fact that my Twilight Council is going to be delayed. So be it. I'm okay with that. But I don't want to miss my sentry timing. So important to actually get the scout. Around, I'm making it 240. I think at 250 you can make it. Once again, this location to protect the probes and to have the healing in range also. I'm gonna go Twilight Cancel, and then I'm gonna finally make the 3rd and final gateway unit, which is going to be a Stalker, right? Once again, your 2nd gateway should ideally be done when Warp Gate finishes. Once again, I've been a bit annoyed by the early game, but even if my opponent is going factory before CC, I'm still making probes, and I'm still chrono boosting my probes, right? I don't wanna shit my pants. I did not even overcharge this sentry. I'm just waiting for the energy to arrive. I want to prioritize the economy, because you're not going to defend anything if you're broke. That's just, you know, rocket science. And you need to chrono boost your Twilight Cancel also. And finally, I'm getting the 3rd and final gateway. And you see, I've already got a lot of probes. You know, my economy is doing amazing, and I'm only going to scout just now what's going on. So, alright, I see a tech lab on a factory, which means there's going to be siege tanks probably. There's actually a cyclone at my doorstep. Now I'm going to verify whether there's a natural, and there is no natural whatsoever, which means this is 1 base all in, right? Now I can see my opponent is moving across the map. What is my reaction? My reaction is to add a 4th gateway. Usually I would like to go into a 3rd and so on, but this time I'm playing against 1 base all in. I need to react to it. I've got 10 probes, 11 probes in my natural. I have a big economy boost compared to him. I'm mining way more. Actually, I'm mining 50% more minerals than he is. So I've got all the money in the world that I need. Now I just need to stay alive, right? So out of my 3 gates, I'm going to make a 4th to really make sure I defend properly. I don't need the robo. Why? Because actually, I would not have enough gas to make a robo and immortal. It would be too expensive. So I'll only rely on stalkers. All your money should go into stalkers first. And then with the remaining minerals you've got, you're actually going to get more batteries to make sure you stay alive. But you will not be able to spend all that much if you got probes in the early game. This is why it's crucial to chrono boost your probes, sorry about that, in the early game, so you actually have money to justify that. Now you want to go on the map. The worst thing that could happen is that your opponent actually sieges right to your face in a natural. You need to prevent your opponent from actually reaching your base safely. You've got 4 Stalkers, and guess what? 4 Stalkers is the magic number to one-shot a Marine without combat shield. So, and I've got range too. It's not easy to do, but you can tell yourself, well, my micro is not amazing, but the control of your opponent is not going to be perfect either, right? And it's actually difficult for a Terran to actually put the tank at the front and then pull it back and so on. So try to first warping units continuously, do not miss any cycle, otherwise you're going to die 100%. And then with the remaining attention and APM you've got, you're going to try to kite and buy time. Your goal is to kill some units for free if you can and force the Terran to slowly siege and so on. You see, my micro is fucking terrible, man. Feels like I'm microing with my eyes closed, you know, it's terrible. But it still accomplished what I wanted. I bought time for myself, and I'm able to slowly mass the Stalkers. The idea is you want to have a critical mass of Stalker, which is about 13, 14, 15, and then I can just blink on top and obliterate the key units. The key units in this case are the siege tanks. It's fine to lose a gate. We have made one extra anyway. It's fine to lose a battery or two. They are here to buy time for myself. Remember, I'm mining more than my opponent. My goal is to reach the critical mass, and I'm getting close to it. How many Stalkers do I have right now? I've got 13, so we should be in a sweet spot to one-shot siege tanks. Now, what do I want to accomplish? I will blink firmly, aim at the tank, snipe it. Once again, don't blink randomly. Try to blink firmly on top of the tank and zoop, you target it. Target the second one, I target the Viking, I target the Cyclone. I will kill all the expensive units. And then all he has left, just Marines. Marines will not be able to do anything. If you struggle with micro, try to retreat towards your battery and you should be just fine. So you see, you can be very greedy, spend a lot of chrono boost on your economy, get lots of probes, and defend a one base all-in very easily if you actually know what to do. Alright, and the third game of the day is going to be against the Russian player Nicorakt, who's getting pretty good these days actually. And I'm gonna speed up the beginning a little bit because you know what's going on. As you can see, you can play a bit of a variation and actually wall against the Reapers. It's actually pretty useful on most maps. You don't have to do it, but you can do it. It's just up to you. Alright, I'm gonna scout once again after the gates. And I'm just gonna try and see if everything is looking normal. Right now I can see no add-on on the barracks, so it's most likely a Reaper, it could be a Marine also. And there's just a CC, so I can just go home. I don't need to stick around. At 2 minutes, the Reaper is gonna spawn. I need to get the hell out of here so I can actually save a probe. It would be stupid to just sacrifice a probe when I already have all the information in the world that I need. Now I know there's command center, of course, so I don't need to get a battery. I can just delay the battery. Remember in the previous games I got a battery at 250. Well, this time around I don't need to make it this early because there's a CC, no rush, right? Just take it easy. Once again, you chrono your Stalker, then you go into a sentry, and then Twilight Council, and then third gateway. As your natural finishes, actually I chrono boosted my probe, actually I missed it, but I chrono boosted my Nexus and I'm chrono boosting it again. I can get an extra chrono boost because my opponent's once again playing a fast expand build, so I'm safe. There's no need to be overly worried about anything, so I can just chrono boost my probes even more. Then I will chrono boost my Twilight Council 3 times in total to make sure I've got a pretty fast blink. As you can see, it's a beautifully misrallied Stalker over here. You can see you can make stupid mistakes in high GM also. And now my opponent's actually doing an amazing job trying to block my hallucinated Phoenix. Alright, my little mechanical bird has arrived to its location and I see a tech lab attached to a starport and it's actually spinning, which is most likely going to be Cloak and Banshees. My reaction should immediately to make a robo over here to get detection and get a little battery over here because one battery out heals a DPS of a Banshee. But I'm struggling. I'm trying to defend here because I'm struggling a little bit. It should be easy with 3 units because my fucking stalker is stuck, well, I'm struggling. That's the problem. Now you can see my robo is a bit late. That's a mistake on my hand. I should absolutely be making my robo. It's actually a good 15 seconds late. I was a bit busy and distracted. It's definitely late, just like the battery. Now I'm looking for the Banshee with my stalkers. I'm gonna try to wait in this area because it's the most obvious location, just moving around. Okay, I'm a bit lucky here. Barely catch it. Okay. And I get more stalkers over here. So I'm really making a lot of units, right? You've got 3 gateways worth of production, so you can make 3 stalkers by 3. Then you get your second geyser, of course, as you the third geyser, I should say. And then you go into the next phase of the game. Now I'm gonna scout again. This scout is critical because now I need to know whether my opponent is following up with a big timing attack, which is the case here, or if my opponent is actually, you know, expanding and taking its sweet time. So this scout is critical. Make sure you pay attention to it. If you have the tendency to lose the hallucination, take a safer route, go all the way like this. This hallucination must survive, or else you won't. I see the tanks and the marines inbound towards my base. I see the bunker empty. That's a dead giveaway that my opponent's units are about to attack me. So now I've got all the information that I need. The bases are empty. I know my opponent is on his way. I'm warping in 3 more stalkers. And if you're doing a good job at making stalkers continuously, you will have quite a bit of units. I just recharged my sentry, which is a big deal also. Guardian shield is mandatory if you want to defend this kind of pushes. Now he's trying to do a bit of multitasking, but I'm the Jaedong of stalkers, of course, so I'm gonna catch this Banshee. I think he slightly mistimed these units, to be fair. And now, just because I never missed a cycle of constantly warping in 3 stalkers at a time, I actually have a big fucking bulk of unit, right? I only have 3 gates, you know, but I'm just continuously warping in. And once again, I don't give a fuck. I just blink firmly. Make sure you are in range of the stalkers when you do blink. One shot one tank, one shot the second tank, and then when your opponent only has marines remaining, you can just, you know, slowly micro away. You have more potential to out micro. Keep chrono boosting your probes. Your goal is to get as rich as possible so you can trade later on. Then in this little scenario, I'm not going Colossus first. I'd like to go into extra gates. So in this case, I have 3 gates and I add 5 extra for a total of 8. I'm still making charge and forge. And then I will go Colossus after the gateways. It's a bit different, but no big deal. It doesn't really matter. You can pick whichever option you like. Colossus is, I think, a bit greedier. If you play gateways first, like this in the scenario, it's going to be much easier to defend all kinds of all-ins. Always remake your sentry if you lose it. You don't need 10 sentries, you just need 1 for Guardian Shield. That's all I'm asking. Then all you have to do is make Zealots non-stop and take a 4th, and then second forge, just like in the first replay. I'm not going to go all the way. It's a pretty... Actually, I fucked up here. I'm not going to go all the way. It's a long game, but I hope you understand the game plan. If you've got questions, ask me. And I hope you like this build, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.